The current world record is 206,938 points. How did I go from never having ever played Tetris to breaking the 200k barrier in under 2 years? This is my story. This is my first ever recorded game of Ultra. This was done with something called BT Loop. DPC wasn't exactly the popular choice at the time, and its research was quite undeveloped compared to the tech we have today. BT Loop is a loop that uses the first bag T in the stack, builds a BT cannon for the second and third bag T spins, and then finishes off with a C spin into a PC for the fourth and fifth bags. I practiced this over and over, and I started getting really good at it. At this point, my mechanical skill had improved by quite a lot, and I was now able to hold a pretty solid 3 PPS BT loop. Little did I know, I was going to almost double this score. I was still primarily using BT because I was faster at it at the time, but this is the first instance of me using a DPC loop. DPC loop works by first clearing a perfect clear after 8 lines, and then using the remaining piece that's on hold to build a T-spin setup, which can be resolved into a further perfect clear in 6 lines, completing the loop at 14 lines. Jigsaw DPC resources were not researched well at the time, so I was just using PCO into second PC into DPC. Here, I had completely dropped BT. DPC was just that much more efficient, and I was finding that my top speed for DPC was much higher than that with BT, so I dropped it entirely. I was so close to the world record. Firestorm was still sitting pretty at number 1, with his patented PCO spamming with incredibly high success rate, and I was catching up until 8 days later, Caboozled Pie completely destroyed the world record, pulling ahead with 165,070. I should mention that by today's standards, this score still sits comfortably in the top 10, even after more than a year. This just goes to show how far ahead of his time Caboozled was mechanically. Nobody could match his consistent speed, but this motivated me to push further and further. Soon after, Blarg and Fortism kept pushing the world record further and further away from me, with their expertise in Gumishiro stacking and SDPC and Jigsaw respectively. The race was however won by Fortism, who pushed many of his games to above 4 PPS. Over Blarg and Caboozled, Fortism 2 had consistency and efficiency. But I was practicing too. PB after PB, I kept improving my speed, but also my efficiency. An advantage I had was my ability to milk out as many points as I could from the pieces. Fortism, while incredibly fast, was also sacrificing some PPB, standing for points per block, in favor of speed, causing him to miss better solves and even miss PC in some instances. For me, it was a matter of keeping that efficiency high and simply improving my mechanical skill. I got faster and faster at spotting the best solutions. I dedicated a separate account to trying to get all my scores above 400 ppb, which is way towards the upper end of efficiency. I came so close to the world record on a couple occasions. I got 186,747, which ended in a PC setup not having a solution, which was extremely unlucky for me. The day before I would set the historic 200k, I was basically 2 pieces off securing world record. I was not able to burst out the last couple of pieces in time, and I sat in second place, just 1,000 points behind Fortism. I was coping. Today, the world record is 206,938. I broke the previous world record by over 10,000 points, with a run scoring 400 points per block, but also at a speed of 4.31 pieces per second. That is 517 pieces placed in 2 minutes. In this run, I successfully executed 5 T-spin nulls and 1 T-spin mini null, 8 quads, 12 T-spin singles, 26 T-spin doubles, and 37 perfect clears. Zepheniah and Fortism 2 were in a race between who could hit 1.5 million blitz on Tetrio and 200k ultra on Jastris respectively, but I beat them to the race that I wasn't invited to. And that is my road to 200k ultra. I'll now share my thoughts on how you could also improve your scores. To me, these are the elements that contribute to a good Ultra score. 1. Mechanical skill. 2. Knowledge of setups. And 3. Mental game. Towards mechanical skill, there's not a whole lot you can do other than play more. And I hate giving play more as advice, but legitimately, there's not a whole lot more that you can do. Like some people, like Zepheniah and Merlin, have used absurdly low DAS and have seen great results with it on Tetrier's Blitz mode. But since J-Stress Ultra has no gravity increase, I don't see such a need for that. Here are my handling and control settings, but I reckon you should just use what's comfortable for you. If anything, my settings are pretty bad because my 180 key, which is C, and my hold key, which is F, are both mapped to my left index finger. Yeah, so this is my keyboard. It's a Logitech G512 Carbon. You'll notice it looks a little bit weird. These keycaps are wrong. That's because my actual arrow keys are too worn out, so I switched them out. And this spacebar's upside down, and that's because my thumb slips off it less when it's like this. You should resist the need to move your fingers so much. Keeping your finger movements relaxed will help with stamina. I also advise not freestyling setups ever. Always memorize setups, because putting them in the same places in the board every time will allow you to remember finesse by muscle memory, and this also helps out with misdropping less. I find most of my misdrops come from fumbling on a piece because I haven't practiced doing the setup enough, or from a DAS misdrop, so like holding too long or not long enough. This is adjustable by changing your DAS or just by acclimating it to it from experience. I also only advise picking up a setup if you're going to be able to execute it at basically your top speed. For me, the only setup that I regularly use that I can only do at a little under top speed is this one, which I justify with its efficiency. Efficiency is the statistic that people are researching the most at the moment. Over in the PC Gang Discord, more and more research setups with high chances of T-spin and quad PC setups are being used in fast runs. Some of the most notable recent labbers being these people. Knowing more and better setups is one thing, but you gotta use a little common sense. If you're not going to be able to recognize them quickly enough in real time when you're playing at your top speed, is the trade-off really worth it? That's for you to decide. Maybe it is. I myself have been practicing these rarer setups on a separate J-Stress account, 400 ppb, but I seldom use these setups when going at about 4 pps. It's just not realistic for me to recognize some of these cases because I haven't practiced them as much as the others. The final thing to worry about is nerve control. This isn't discussed very much, but I feel like this might be one of the most important things about playing a mode like this. Many players have their speed drop off towards the end due to getting shaky and nervous in anticipation of a new personal best score, or a world record in my case. For the best results, you want to be completing your attempts with a similar speed held throughout the entire run. Personally, the biggest thing that helped was a tip that I took off Zepheniah while there was still the undisputed best blitz player. In J-Stress you have an option to turn off the score counter, PPS counter, among other things. By turning all of these off, you remove any chances for you to get distracted. For me, if I played without the intention of actually getting a personal best, but rather just playing solidly, I play the best. If I think about, oh man, this run could be a world record, then I kinda self-destruct and it creates a really unhealthy relationship between yourself and the game, and can ruin your motivation to play, and that's partially the reason why I don't play Blitz on Tetrio anymore. Some other things that I care about: keep a good sitting posture and take breaks. While grinding out some of my highest scores, I did a mix of playing until I finished a run, and then watching YouTube videos or doing homework while I wait for my shaky hands to go away. I'll leave a link to the techniques that I used in the run in the description of the video and on the end screen. Special thanks to Caboozled Pie, Fortism2, stickmancomic, John Beak, and Zepheniah for pushing me to keep going further and further. Shoutouts to the people in Sugarenta, the Aquarium, and PC Gang as well. This will probably be my final major achievement, so thanks for sticking with me all this time, guys. Love the support. Thanks, bye.